the enterprising spirit of the American entrepreneur. It forms the fabric of our communities and grew the nation. Henry Ford, the Wright brothers. The American imagination is the mother of invention. With a good idea and a lot of determination, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. But when those dreams are guided by ambition and power, they can lead to nightmares.
I think it's greed.
This is the story of Terry McAuliffe, entrepreneur.
I've done little deals, I've done million-dollar deals.
His trade, politics, power, and cash.
We need that money back. You know, that money should be returned to the people.
McAuliffe is known as a showman, a native New Yorker with a knack for raising big bucks for liberal politicians. He sold access to the Lincoln bedroom. McAuliffe's thirst for cash at every turn landed him the top job at the Democratic National Committee. Nothing was off limits when it came to money.
Where is it going? In someone's pocket. But whose pocket? I mean, is that what's funding this man's career?
Give money. Bring your cash. Write another check.
Terry will hit up anybody for cash.
You bet.
Even reporters, you have no shame, Terry.
Now McAuliffe promises jobs. Will Virginians get left in the cold?
We will create jobs, thousands of jobs.
Several thousand employees.
2,000 jobs, thousands of new jobs.
Hope to hire about 5,000 people.
It was McAuliffe who promised full factory operation and 900 jobs by the end of 2012. To date, no factory has been built.
Virginia officials say they were dubious of your plan in the first place.
And as we speak, 3 cargo ships are full of our equipment, which will be our first plant in Tunica, Mississippi.
Terry.
We didn't need anyone to come and make the pain worse. And that's what green tech has done.
There is no plant there. There are no jobs there.
I believe I got the raw deal out of it.
It was a waste of my time. It tells you a lot about green tech.
As you know, we've taken control of the International Paper Facility.
No, I don't think so. They definitely has not taken control of the IP mill site.
There's no pellet company there.
Don't try to fool people into thinking that you're something that you're not.
I'm creating thousands of new jobs, American jobs. I love doing this.
Dishonest. Pitiful. He knows better.
This story begins in 2009. Terry McAuliffe's run for governor ended in an embarrassing primary defeat. And just a year earlier, McAuliffe's chairmanship of Hillary Clinton's primary resulted in a historic, catastrophic meltdown. McAuliffe needed a reboot.
I love what I'm doing. I'm traveling the world. I'm a leader in the electric car market, a leader in the hybrid market. It's an exciting space to be in today.
Amidst the struggling economy, Terry McAuliffe promised Virginians a future of green job creation. He began a traveling roadshow, selling a fantastical business story to anyone who would listen.
I have done what no one else has ever done. I actually went to China and bought the biggest electric car company in China and brought that company back to the United States of America. So
on the surface, it sounded good. Buy a company from China and move it back to the U.S. to create American jobs. But it was too good to be entirely true. The Automotive News wrote, "Let's be plain. Terry McAuliffe's plan is dead on arrival."
now my corporate headquarters is in Tyson's Corner, Virginia.
McAuliffe claimed he would open an electric car factory in Virginia.
And they're huge job creators, Ryan. We will create jobs, thousands of jobs.
There was just one problem. Virginia development authorities were expressing grave doubts about McAuliffe's plan. In documents obtained by PolitiFact, officials discovered a troubling chain of financing. One official wrote of McAuliffe's grand plans, "This feels like a national political play instead of a Virginia economic opportunity." But Terry McAuliffe's Virginia Roadshow rolled on, like this appearance in Stanton, Virginia.
Well, we haven't announced it yet. If you read the paper, I'm saying that they're either going to be built in Tennessee, Mississippi, or Virginia. So you just let your imagination wander. But
Obviously, I'm negotiating for a very, very large tract of land, and we got, until we're, you don't want to give it away too much, as you can understand that. $80,000.
In fact, Terry McAuliffe planned an elaborate grab for investor cash, leading straight to China, and hinging on a little-known company called Gulf Coast Funds Management. Its CEO, Tony Rodham, brother of then Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton. Tony Rodham's Gulf Coast Funds Management runs a regional center for a type of investment known as EB-5, green cards in exchange for cash investments. And Rodham's own website includes a handy step-by-step guide. A foreign investor commits $500,000 to be invested in the U.S. In exchange, Tony Rodham's company helps these foreigners receive green cards and potential U.S. citizenship for themselves and their families. McAuliffe and Rodham were engaging in what many view as a flawed scheme to raise money. A Washington Post editorialist called EB-5 a scandal.
That was going to be my next question: is where's the funding going to come from to see that vision fulfilled?
Oh, we've raised. We're in great shape financially. Yeah, I'm a big believer. Get your money up front. But to be honest with you, Jan, it's not hard if you have a new idea.
Tony Rodham's personal role in raising EB-5 money for green tech remains unknown, but the two companies were close. So close that McAuliffe's Green Tech and Rodham's Gulf Coast Funds headquarters were right next door to each other. In fact, the directory at the front desk of Rodham's Gulf Coast Funds lists the primary contact as someone at Green Tech. In an email to Virginia development officials, Green Tech's chief operating officer confirmed they were sister companies. Internal documents from authorities in Virginia reveal serious concerns about McAuliffe's business, calling it a risky visa for sale scheme.
All the cargo ships are now here. My first plant I wanted to put in Virginia, but Virginia didn't bid on it. We have never bid on these types of things, which drives me crazy.
But PolitiFact calls McAuliffe's claim false. To some authorities in Virginia, it appeared McAuliffe was potentially putting the nation's security at risk, all to raise a quick buck.
They say, and I quote, we still can't get our heads around this being anything other than a visa for sale scheme with potential national security implications that we have no way to confirm or discount. In other words, they thought your business plan was shaky and perhaps a little dubious.
But that wouldn't stop McAuliffe. He moved his operation to a state where the Green Cards for Cash program was welcomed with open arms.
The car will be built at an old elevator plant in Mississippi. McAuliffe plans a new plant in another economically hard-hit part of the country, employing some 5,000.
300,000 cars a year, which should result in about 2,000 new American jobs here in this country.
That was going to be my next question.
McAuliffe's Green Tech Automotive leased a portion of an empty elevator factory in Horn Lake. A permanent factory was promised to Tunica, Mississippi, experiencing devastating unemployment rates.
I've been in this community all of my life. What drew me to Green Tech, I would say, just the love of cars.
Hopes of former Green Tech employees like Corey were dashed soon after they set foot at Terry McAuliffe's Horn Lake factory.
It didn't go as planned, as I thought it would. It was a bit of a shocker.
I believe it was just a big show to get money. They sell it to you like it was about the job, but look at it.
Terrison also worked at McAuliffe's car plant. According to these former employees, McAuliffe's company was not mass-producing cars. Far from it.
We came to work probably for about 3 or 4 months straight, doing nothing but sweeping the floor or painting.
For the most part, just act like we're busy. No, they weren't making. Look, they had a prototype area in the back that they was kind of tinkering with the car, but as far as like most of the employees worked there, we just kind of acted like we were busy.
But McAuliffe talked as though Green Tech was already producing cars.
And in October, our first cars will roll off, all electric, and I'm proud to announce that today, we just signed a deal that our first-year electric cars, we're going to sell all of the first-year production to the country of Denmark.
But employees say In Mississippi, they only had prototype cars.
Well, you go to Green Tech Automotive, my company, our first car, as I say, will roll out on July 4th of this year, and we're selling the first 100,000 vehicles for $10,000.
In fact, some workers didn't even see a car for months.
When we finally got a chance to see a car, may have been 7 months in.
According to these workers, the atmosphere changed when investors were visiting.
I never saw an American investor in the building. It was always Chinese, Asian, never an American investor.
Former employees describe a troubling charade.
They'd give us a phone call telling us that the investor had just got out the plane and everybody get in their position to get ready to put on the show.
That's what they would tell us, we're gonna have a show. They told us they was from China. And we even went far enough to ask the question, don't you think that they're gonna know that we're not just building this car? And we were told they don't know the difference.
So they'll take this group of Chinese and bring to where I was working at with the brake lines. I'll actually be unloosing the brake lines on a car that we had built probably a month ago and then actually tighten the brake line back up.
Yeah, we put on a dog and pony show pretty much. We set the line up with all the cars on it to make it look like we were busy. Yeah, when all the investors come in, we would act like we were working until they left.
And then once it was over with, back to cleaning the floors and stuff.
Even more baffling to residents of Tunica were McAuliffe's boasts of his sprawling Tunica car factory under construction.
So it's a great little story. 13 cargo ships later, we are under construction in Tunica, Mississippi, our first plant. We'll have several thousand employees there.
No, I don't know.
Meg Coker is the editor of the Tunica Times newspaper.
And as far as I've been able to tell, there aren't construction trailers or anything going out there.
But we've just broken ground on a huge permanent facility in Mississippi.
Terry. I guess he borrowed Harry Potter's invisibility cloak because I can't see it. Did you see it?
In fact, no one in Tunica has seen the facility Terry McAuliffe claimed was under construction. It remains an empty field, overgrown, desolate.
You mean here in Tunica? No, they did a lot of groundwork here, but no factory. Matter of fact, you can go up by the Methodist Clinic there in Robertsonville and see where they've done the groundwork. Grass have grown up there. Maybe there's another Green Tech somewhere we don't know about because it's not there.
The empty field where McAuliffe promised thousands of jobs stings Tunica, Mississippi like an open wound. To those who pay taxes here, McAuliffe's promises came at a great cost.
If you can figure it out, let us know, because it is above my skill grade to find out what is going on here. What I do know is that it's costing Tunica County a lot of money, and there is no plant there. There are no jobs there.
You hear all the time that manufacturing jobs, for the most part, are gone for good. They're just not coming back. Why was it worth it for you as an entrepreneur to build plants in the United States?
What I've done is said we have 2 plants, as I said, in Mississippi.
I'm sorry for Terry, because that's just not true. Green Tech does not have 2 plants in Mississippi that I know of, unless it's someplace else.
In fact, the same Terry McAuliffe who sold himself as a great American jobs creator was building his new factory in China. 500 acres in Mongolia, China, an 18 million square foot factory, enough Chinese jobs to create 300,000 vehicles a year.
Now explain, you're building a factory in China, but this is going to create American jobs. There's a little bit of a disconnect.
What we're doing in China is, because of the high tariffs, we have to build there. I went to China and actually bought an electric car company. I'm sick and tired of our jobs being taken from the United States to China.
But McAuliffe's new China factory left some workers in his temporary Horn Lake facility apprehensive.
As we were working there, they were claiming that they had a company over there in China that a select few of us supposed to went over there and stay for about 3 months to actually show them how to build a car. So basically, it was like they were taking our jobs and taking it over there.
I'm proud to say I've done what no one's ever done. I actually went to China and bought their biggest electric car company. And I moved the entire company back to the United States of America.
He also told us that he could sell ice to the Eskimos, so.
China was receiving a new factory, but Mississippi was out millions of dollars.
Mississippi was very aggressive and put up a very substantial financial package, almost worth about $18 million. And we have 2 plants in Mississippi.
We need that money back.
Henry Nixon is on the Tunica County Board of Supervisors.
You know, that money that we invested should be returned to the people.
To others like Nikita Dean, who works to get community members into good jobs, it's a bait and switch.
It should be returned with interest because we were interested in them coming here. People took an interest in that company, an interest in wanting jobs, an interest in development, and an interest in them. So it should be returned with interest because, like I said, it's been a big facade.
We'll have several thousand employees there, and then I'm going to announce my next plant in the next, hopefully, 60 to 90 days to build my next generation of cars. I'm nuts on renewable energy.
I think it's greed. And people really think that that's okay for them to do it to other people. It's not. It is not.
And they're huge job creators, right? We will create jobs, thousands of jobs.
The rumor was, man, that we were about to get laid off. Everybody heard it, so everybody's like, oh, God.
2,000 jobs in America, 2,000 there. You know, win-win situation.
Terry McAuliffe, job creator.
They laid like 15 of us off at one time.
These workers were terminated in early 2013. The so-called temporary factory's small workforce was slashed.
A month before I got laid off, they told everybody be prepared to work overtime, you know, right after Christmas. And it was just a few weeks later, you know, but they got rid of us. Yeah.
The layoffs hit workers in this already suffering area especially hard.
I talked to my pastor about it and a couple more people that I go to church with. My pastor would basically tell me to hold on, pray about it.
We were already hurting in our community. This community is hurting. We didn't need anyone to come and make the pain worse.
I don't know much about Terry, but what I have read about him, I don't really care for him, to be honest with you.
Weeks before the layoffs, Terry McAuliffe had quietly resigned as chairman of Green Tech while holding on to at least $250,000 of stock in the company.
Well, as far as I know, he left the company. He just quit. I think that might be a reason that they let us go.
Back in Virginia, McAuliffe talked as if he were still with the company, that he was busy building electric cars. He spoke to a business forum on January 22, 2013. 7 weeks after his resignation.
I'm building electric cars now.
As news begins to spread about Green Tech's lack of progress in Mississippi, is Virginia now breathing a sigh of relief?
It was McAuliffe who promised full factory operation and 900 jobs by the end of 2012. To date, no factory has been built.
Reverend McKinley Daly is on the Tunica County Board of Supervisors.
We are trying to dig into it to try to find out, okay, if they're going to open when is the money going to be released?
It's a lot of money to people who do not have a lot of money.
In 2009, the Washington Post wrote, McAuliffe's made a fortune investing in companies that laid off workers and drained investors. Now, in 2013, it seems history is repeating itself.
Terry, your plants, we talked about it last segment in Mississippi, something like 1,000 jobs by the end of the year.
Full production.
If you give us your word on something, we just want you to keep your word. It's sort of heartbreaking.
The community deserves better than that. I mean, from what I can tell, we welcome these people with open arms, and maybe they were intended to take advantage of us the whole time. I don't know. But no, we don't deserve that. We've given them the Southern hospitality, so.
With McAuliffe slipping out of green tech and no factory in sight, the people of Tunica, Mississippi ask, what happened to the incentive money? Where is the EB-5 money from investors?
Where is it going? It's very fishy.
Green Tech was unresponsive to requests to interview a representative for this film. McAuliffe would repeat this very same pattern to those who least expected it.
This is a family town. Even though we're not related, it's a family town. I mean, I know most everybody that walks down the street, and we speak, and we kind of look out for each other.
Dan Howe is executive director of the Downtown Franklin Association.
Franklin's claim to fame, or this whole Southampton County area, has a lot to do with the wood basket.
And for decades, the surrounding forests and huge paper mill provided multitudes of jobs here in Franklin, Virginia.
International Paper Union Camp was the lifeblood of Franklin, and it has been since Franklin was founded.
As you probably know, the city of Franklin shut down their paper mill after 150 years, and 1,100 people were thrown on the street. I saw this as a perfect opportunity to do what I talked about. We got to get into the green space, so.
The press noted job creation in rural Virginia could help McAuliffe, who is from New York, erase his reputation as a carpetbagger. McAuliffe was traversing the state, promising a green jobs bonanza. He found a receptive audience in hard-hit Franklin.
Before I retired, I worked at the mill. There was a lot of people that, depended on that for the economy, for their living.
When the mill closed, I mean, it was terrible. It was devastating. The economy dropped.
We've been through floods. We've been through economic downturns with the major employer with International Paper closing.
Now, Terry McAuliffe had shown up on Franklin's doorstep.
You saw the graduate, plastics. Today, wood pellets.
McAuliffe's latest creation would be a green energy company he called Franklin Pellets. Those in Franklin were looking for a ray of hope, and McAuliffe promised salvation.
We're going to make wood pellets, which basically is pulverized wood. We're going to sell them to Europe. We'll be the largest. We'll make 500,000 tons a year. It's a whole new idea here for Virginia.
I don't know enough about how you make a wood pellet. I know they can make paper there, and I know they have made fluff pulp there, and I know they made tissue. I don't know if that same process, obviously the machines that make those don't make pellets.
International Paper officials did not release information about their negotiations to repurpose their plant, but that did not stop McAuliffe from continuing his story.
As you know, we've taken control of the International Paper facility, the forest down there. We're going to make...
No, I don't think so. He definitely has not taken control of the IP mill site. I think IP is very much in control of that plant site.
In fact, a company called ST Tissue did successfully open in the Franklin Mill. It wasn't Terry McAuliffe's company, but that still did not stop Terry McAuliffe.
So I'm back in business, and I'm working on a couple great projects. The group of us took control of a closed-down, shuttered paper mill in Franklin, Virginia.
That's a bold-faced one, so far as I know. I know there are two companies over there. One of them is ST, and one of them is International Paper. There's no pellet company there.
There is no Franklin Pellets, no.
Not that I'm aware of. Only two people I know in there is ST Tissues and International Paper with the fluff pulp.
I hate to say this, but politicians will tell you about anything.
We're going to make wood pellets there, saving 200 to 300 jobs that were lost when they shut that paper facility down.
Don't say it if you're not going to do it. Don't get people's hopes up. It's not right, and it's not the good, honest thing to do. Don't try to fool people into thinking that you're something that you're not. Be straight with people, and you haven't been straight.
The Tidewater Press reports 3 years after McAuliffe announced his plans, there is no evidence of Franklin Pellets. But McAuliffe's fantastical business stories were taking hold. The Washington Examiner wrote, "Now McAuliffe is most known in Virginia for turning the International Paper Plant into an industrial wood pellet firm." McAuliffe told the paper, "I did what I said I was going to do. I created jobs."
I'm creating thousands of new jobs, American jobs. I love doing this.
To Virginians like Becky, who lost her business as a contractor, this talk is cheap.
I'm doing the best I can. It's been a long haul. It's finally settling out. Now, we're getting back on our feet and all. We lost our house. And
now I'm in the business. As you know, we've taken control of the International Paper Facility, the forest down there.
These people deserve better than that. They really do. It's a good community. I like living around here. And I know a lot of people that live here, and they're all my friends, and we're all neighbors, so to speak. And if you lie to one, you're lying to me. And I just don't like to be lied to.
I'm going to create thousands of jobs. I started my first business when I was 14 years old. And let me tell you something, folks, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Regardless of what he hopes green tech will become, right now it has not produced much.
I don't know much about Terry, but what I have read about him, I don't really care for him.
What I've done is said we have 2 plants, as I said, in Mississippi. These are jobs of the future. We're there, we're manufacturing, but I really took it to the next level. I went to China, bought a company, and brought it back to America. Right.
I don't personally know anybody that's been hired to work there. So as far as thousands of people hired, who are they and where are they?
We've taken control of the International Paper Facility, the forest down there.
that's a bold-faced one.
I think they laid off up to about 50 people. And so now those people are unemployed.
We've raised, we're in great shape financially. Yeah, I'm a big believer, get your money up front. But to be honest with you, Jan, it's not hard if you have a new idea.
You opened that company in Mississippi instead of in Virginia. It hasn't created many jobs in Mississippi.
I'm going to create thousands of jobs.
I've learned from all of those. I want to bring those experiences with me.
We were told it was a permanent layoff.
We have built 4 vehicles, hope to hire about 5,000 people in a manufacturing facility.
And we hope through full capacity, 300,000 cars a year, which should result in about 2,000 new American jobs.
They told us things from China.
They were taking our jobs and taking it over there.
Virginia officials say they were dubious of your plan in the first place.
I'm creating thousands of new jobs, American jobs. I love doing this.
If you lie to one, you're lying to me. And I just don't like to be lied to.
See, let me tell you something, folks. You ain't seen nothing yet, nothing yet, nothing yet, nothing yet, nothing yet.